Hi John, do you want to tell us about how things are going at FFT at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots happening at the moment. We've got 3 strategic initiatives. The first is plans starting to build for a business case for a home of football, which we launched today. We've engaged Deloitte to prepare our paperwork for that and a business case to show us the way forward, but most importantly engage with our members and stakeholders to find out what an infrastructure looks like and how an infrastructure would progress the needs of the football community.
So any ideas where the home of football may
Yeah,
be?
no idea at the moment. We've got a business case in mind. It's a southern infrastructure at this stage, so somewhere in the south, and it obviously needs to be central. But we'll let our members and stakeholders obviously have a lot of input into that process. Part of the business case, or hopefully the result of the business case, will be this is what the football community, or this is what football needs to progress forward in terms from an infrastructure point of view, and then certainly look at a lay of the land and maybe overlay that into existing land at the moment where we can look at and where it fits in.
And a budget's been set aside?
A budget's been set aside for the business case in the first instance, and part of the business case will be that is forms part of a funding application that we look at both state and federal funding for such an infrastructure. And we know that there's not a lot there in terms of state government funding at the moment, but hopefully in a couple of years' time that may turn around, and we've got a piece of work that's ready to go in and put us in the best possible position to secure some funding.
And what about a state league?
State league, yeah, that's the second strategic initiative. Very keen to look at a state league, but very keen to look at a state league that's viable and sustainable. We attended a meeting at Football Federation Australia just recently, and behind the scenes there's a national competitions review that's happening, which is looking at the football level under the A-League and how that looks in each state, and getting a level of consistency across Australia in what that state league looks like. So certainly we'll get some advice on what criteria looks like. Again, engage with our members to come up with something that they believe is viable and sustainable. We don't want it just to be a 2 or 3 year initiative. We want it to push and promote football for many, many years to come.
And you said 3 strategic ideas.
Yeah, the third one is a marketing strategy, and communications plan that's been formed at the moment. We've delivered a first draft of a discussion paper to our members to have a look at. The next stage of that is develop an action plan that's precise, that really positions football as the number 1 sport in Tasmania and lifts the exposure. Parallel to that is the production of obviously a new website and helping to support the existing communication channels that are happening throughout Tasmania at the moment, in particular the different blogs that are operating at the moment. So to working closely with them to ensure that between Football Federation Tasmania and our media partners and our media stakeholders, that we're covering football in a much better light and certainly getting down to the level of junior association parents, where we want the very large junior participation base to convert into senior football.
So how do you think you'll go about doing that? Because it is a problem.
It's a huge problem at the moment. Our numbers are very junior association heavy. We need to look at a whole number of varieties, but certainly we want to work with clubs to get them more active in perhaps engaging with current junior association structures, in particular under 11s and under 12s, and the opportunity for clubs then to venture down into junior associations themselves. Some clubs have started that, some clubs have done that really well, so certainly that's a number of initiatives, but we need to make sure that when children are finishing primary school, they don't see that as the end of their soccer football life. They change schools and then they have to go and look for a football club, and that's a couple of big changes at the age of 11 and 12 years. So we want that to be a bit more seamless pathway where they start at under 6 and can play right through to over 35 leagues that are in place this year.
And how is the under 35 league going?
It's going well. It's taken a while to get going, but numbers around Australia tell us that is an area of the game that is growing very fast, along with women's football and along with junior association under 6, 7 and 8 football. So we need to harness obviously that style of the game, feed into the areas that are growing, and if we can work on the retention of players in the other age groups, we're going to see numbers hopefully soar.